learn from my mistake. Are you tired of hearing the same old advice when it comes to real estate? Do you want to learn from the biggest and baddest mistakes in the industry? Then welcome to Learn from My Mistake, the podcast that brings you real estate professionals from all over, sharing the biggest blunders and how to avoid them. I'm one of your hosts, Jake Remillard, and I'm joined by my partner, Baginski. We're here to give you the inside scoop on what not to do in the real estate game. From brokers to investors, we've got it all. We're not just here to tell you about our guest failures, though. We're here to help you learn from them so you can make the right moves when it counts. So buckle up and get ready to hear some juicy stories and expert advice you won't find anywhere else. This is Learn from My Mistake. New episodes drop every week. Don't miss out. Learn from my Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Learn from My Mistake back for season 2. We are super excited to be here. Me, Jake Remillard, my partner, Baginski, and our very first guest of this season, Drewbie Wilson. Drewbie, welcome to the show, man.
Jake, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here for the kickoff of season 2. How exciting.
Yes. I know, you get to be the first guest. That's like a cool thing, right?
I mean, I'm going to take that. I'm going to receive that compliment and say 100% it is a super duper cool thing. And for anyone who's here with us, you also get to be a part of this cool experience too. So hell yeah, let's rock and roll.
All right. So Drewbie, you are like in a million different things. And I've heard your story. I actually read your book. Thank you for that book when we met. So I know a bit about you, but why don't you introduce yourself for people listening and tell them kind of how you got started, a little bit about your journey.
Got it. So I am Drewbie Wilson, the self-proclaimed meme lord. So if you're not watching this on the video, I literally have tattooed meme lord across my knuckles. I have spent 20 years in sales, really focusing, to be honest, on growing entrepreneurship, marketing. I've had to learn it all. I've been through it all. I grew up, I could go all the way into my story. I won't. You could go read it in my first book, Crushing the Day. But essentially, man, I grew up single mom. Dad was in and out, had a lot of ups and downs of my childhood. Grew up selling dope, got into that world, tried to get my life together as I became, a teenager and an adult, and ended up, finding my wife, who we now have an 8-year-old son. And as we were going through that journey of dating and growing and maturing, I went from what I would have normally considered a job like selling, cigars and tobacco, had a pretty normal job selling that, and then got let go 2 weeks before Christmas from that position. Found myself shortly after that selling furniture, did really well in furniture, then went and sold insurance for a number of years, did really well in insurance, then got to a point where it was like, in every position where you hit that glass ceiling and it's kind of like, okay, you are at the top of your game. You can be the best of the best. And even if you do that, there's still a limit to what's going to come from that. And so I got to that point in insurance and was like, well, what do I got to do to take it to the next level? How do I go from making $30,000 to $40,000 a year to making $100,000 a year? And I went to the agent and I was like, well, what do I got to do, man? And he says, you got to be patient, my friend. In like 10 years, you're going to own one of these things and you'll be cruising. And God love him. He, was a family member and a friend and someone I really appreciate all the things he did, but also was like, yeah, fuck no, I'm not waiting for 10 years, dog. Like, not happening. Yeah. So I went online and was like, all right, well, what are you doing to be successful? You learned marketing. Okay. Cause you're a sales guy. And if you got more leads, you can sell more stuff to it and you can make more money. This is like no brainer. So I go online, I start learning marketing. I start running my own marketing. I double my production in the insurance business. All of a sudden, guys are calling me going, bro, you're the top guy in the market. What are you doing? And is it legal? Because, of course, when you have success, people want to doubt it or they want to question it. It's like, what are you doing there?
And some of them might have known your background, from selling dope to...
selling dope to moving hope, man. That's how we're rolling nowadays. But, nice. And so I was like, well, I learned this marketing, right? I'm setting up these Facebook ads and doing this marketing stuff with these funnels. Like, I'm not going to do all that, bro. Like, how much to set it up for me? I made $10,000 in one weekend setting up funnels and Facebook ads for these guys, and had never made that kind of money in my life, working 60 hours a week selling insurance. So I knew I was on to something. Fast forward a couple months, I'd started a marketing company, started getting connected online, got a call from one guy who ended up being my mentor for 5 years. And he says, bro, you're in the wrong business.
Yeah.
I know you sell insurance. You got this cool little marketing company. That's cute. Like, come work with me. Let's change some lives. Let's really do something together. So I flew from Ohio to Texas, met with the gentleman. We had a really great conversation. I had to fly back from Texas to Ohio and tell my wife, hey, listen, I know I've been spending this, 5-6 years building this insurance business. Like, this is the best we thought it would ever be. I'm going to quit that and go work for this dude that I met online from Texas selling the software stuff. And it's going to make us a lot of money. She's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? I'm like, don't worry, it's going to be great, babe. Like, it's going to be awesome. Check it out. 6 months after that, we had sold our house in Ohio, literally moved my entire family from Ohio to Texas to go all in on this opportunity, which this is really where we can get into the first big fuck up that I made. I was 100% focused on building a business, and leading up to that point in December, Christmas Eve of 2019, my wife handed me her wedding ring back and said, hey man, I love you, but you're married to this new job or position or whatever the fuck it is you got going on. You need to make a decision. Do you want this or do you want a family?
Wow.
That's
a big one. That's a big one. And now you already have a kid at this point, right? Because he's 8 now. So 3-4 years old.
3-4 years old. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was really an eye opener. Right. And so this is one of the things that I always talk to people about is if you are an entrepreneur or a business owner, or you're considering going down that path, you need to be aware that time is the only resource you cannot get back. You can't buy it. You can't win it in a poker tournament, whether it's Christmas or your birthday. You're not getting a whole big card full of it. Like, it is literally the one thing that you cannot get more of. And yet we still run around and operate as if we have this unlimited box of it in our back pocket that we can get to this later. And what happens as entrepreneurs and business owners is we get in this mindset, this tunnel vision of like this future that we're creating, and we're living in there, and we're seeing it, and we're fixing it, and we're building, all the ramps over the roadblocks to get there. And what happens is we spend all of our time in that place. And even when we're at home in the presence of the people we care about and we love, we're not really there.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that for me almost cost me my family.
Yeah, so that's a big, I want that to like sink in for a minute, because, I was actually posting today, my post in my like mindset group, right, was instead of work hard, play hard, try work happy, play happy, right? Like just changing that mindset, because we do think like we got to go hard all the time. We got to, and our brain, especially as entrepreneurs, it doesn't shut off. It's not like you get home from your work day and you're just like, okay, I'm cool, I'm gonna like chill with the fam. No, your brain is still thinking of the 50 million things that you want to do to grow and expand your business. So I really, really love that. And I think that that's going to hit home for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it hits home for me. I'm right in the middle of, I have 2 young kids. I have about to be 3-year-old and about to be 2-year-old, and I'm probably in a very similar situation and guilty of a lot of that. Like, I work from home. This is my home office. My kids are eating dinner alone with my wife right now, and at the end of the day, I know exactly how tonight's going to go. I'm going to be getting ready to put my kids down to bed, and I'm going to be thinking about the 5 LOIs that we sent out today and checking my lead vault account, my CRM to know like what's going on with all those leads. Then I'm going to put them down, and I'm going to be on my phone again, like checking our Facebook account and making sure no other leads are coming in. And then right before I go to sleep, I'm going to be thinking about how I'm a shitty father because I was thinking about them all day long and not being with them.
Can I share something that really hit home? And this is kind of like a great segue into the next part of the story, right? Because
yeah.
here's where all of this kind of played in. As I was making the transition, leaving insurance to go into this new career with, consulting and marketing and all the things, the reason that happened is I was learning the marketing. I was commenting in Facebook groups, talking and trying to learn, right? It's like, all right, I'm learning how where do I got to figure this stuff out? And I got a shout out from someone that was like, hey, Drewbie and I got on a call. He helped me out with these things. It was awesome. And I literally just posted a reel about this today, but I had a woman named Nancy. She reached out to me and she says, hey, Drewbie, we're in the same group together. I see that you're getting, some success with this program. How much for an hour of your time to get on a call and help me walk through some things? Mm-hmm. And what a humbling question, because at the time I grew up poor, essentially. Like, we didn't have a whole lot. So grunt work, you made $10 an hour. That's what you made. Like, it was like, you make $10 an hour. If you made 15, you were doing pretty good. If you got to 20, you were solid. And anything over 20 was like, bro, you're fucking golden. Just don't fuck that up.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there doing the math. I'm like, all right, I'm in sales and I get my base salary is this, plus my average commissions are this. If I divide that by 40, it's like $25 an hour. But if I'm going to work overtime, you should get time and a half or double time. So I'm like doing these like stupid, like just broke people calculations.
Yeah.
And I get to, I'm like, well, how about $50? And Nancy's going, so I'm going to pay you 75.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you are. That sounds fucking awesome.
Right.
So I get on the call with her. We go through the conversation. She Venmos me $75. And I'll never forget messaging my wife a screenshot and being like, babe, this is the craziest shit. How do I do like 3 calls a day like this? We will be rich. So crazy. But here's the thing, right? Going back to, we all operate as if we have an unlimited amount of time. Well, what if you started treating your time as if it was truly worth what it should be worth? Yeah. Because let's do some quick math. Let's say that you take all of the money that you made last year, you add it up between your main job, your side hustles, whatever, total that amount. How much money did you make? Now divide that number by 2,000. And here's why. If you were an average person, you work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, you take your 2-week vacation. So 40 times 50 gets you to 2,000.
Yeah.
Let's just make an easy number. If you made $100,000 last year and you divide it by 2,000, your time is worth $50 an hour. Someone like me that grew up $10 an hour, like 50 is pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, some of you are listening to this going, shit, if I only made $100,000 last year, we'd be living in the dumps. Like, that wouldn't work for me. Or if I only made 50, like whatever. Just whatever that number is. Here's where it's going to fuck you up even more. I come to you and I'm like, all right, Marie, you have 24 hours left to live. Here's an exact check for the dollar amount that you're currently worth. I need you to come with me. What are you going to tell me, Marie?
Fuck off. If I only got 24 hours left to live, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want for the next 24 hours. I ain't coming with you.
Or there is a number somewhere where you're going to decide, okay, for $100 million, you can do whatever the fuck you want for the next hour, because that's $100 million that I can give to my family, or I can do whatever with. There is a number there.
Yeah.
But the problem is we don't know what that number is, and we haven't committed to it. So people are still running around telling the world that they're worth $100 an hour, $200 an hour, but they're doing $10 an hour shit.
Yeah.
And they're robbing their family of that opportunity to be there, or they're robbing themselves of the opportunity to live the life that they want, because they're still operating in that mindset that their time is worth X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
And here's another real gut punch for you folks, just to really get you. Now look at it like this. How would it feel if you had to sit up in heaven for eternity and watch down from heaven as your spouse slept in your bed with someone else in your home while they raised your children because you didn't make the time to take care of yourself?
It's true.
Shitty.
For eternity. That doesn't sound like heaven, right? That sounds like something else that we don't want in our lives. And yet people still run around and operate as if they have an unlimited time. Or, you know what? I'll start working out next week. I'll go to the doctor for that checkup next month. How many times have you heard that story where someone put it off, and had they just gone and got that checkup, they could have avoided whatever it is that, or at least prevented in some sense what they got into?
So, Drewbie, on that note, I know a little bit of your story, but for those listening, just give them kind of, I mean, I almost wish we could like show a picture of what you used to look like, but give them the quick breakdown, what you used to look like health-wise versus what you look like today. Because I mean,
So,
you're a young stud now.
oh, well, thank you. I received that. Thank you. I am 36, and when I was in my between 20 and 30, I averaged somewhere between 280 and 300 plus pounds. Now, when I met my wife originally, I had been at 280 all the way down to about 210 ish, I think was when we met. I was also a drug dealer who ran around and did nothing but like smoke and drink and like had a terrible diet. So as soon as I got into a relationship and got comfortable, guess what happened? Whoop! Boy got big.
Pump those numbers up.
Yeah, you got, hey man, we're going out to eat, we're having cocktails, we're doing late night pizza snacks, right? Like all the things. And then she got pregnant, and we were eating Thanksgiving turkey dinner like 4 days in a row, like 3 weeks out of the month for 6 months or whatever it was. So like that was all part of the journey for me. And this is what I think a lot of entrepreneurs, who, especially the folks who are thinking about taking that journey, they don't realize that life is going to happen along the way. You're not going to just go out and make a few phone calls and get rich and not have to worry about shit ever again. Like this is a day in and a day out commitment, which is why it's so important to have the boundaries and to understand what it is that you want. As you mentioned earlier, life by design. What do you want? And what actions are you taking to really make that a reality? Because no one's going to just give it to you. You can't just wish in your hand and have it show up. This ain't Shazam. This ain't freaking Aladdin. Like, what are you doing with them hands? That's what's going to get you the life that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of, digging, right? I checked out your LinkedIn profile and went back. I'm a big fan I go to everybody's Facebook, and, there's usually a lot of content. You have an exceptional amount of content, by the way. I was scrolling for a while. And I went back and saw some stuff on there that was pretty cool. A little hack I do is like, I go to photos and then all the way down. Typically that'll get you farther back into somebody's life than just scrolling through there. But I saw a couple really cool things on there that I just wanted to like kind of touch on. So a bunch of BMX stuff and like skateboarding with your kid. How did you, that kind of ties in with, I saw the videos where you were working at Allstate and you were wearing kind of like these colorful polos and you had a whole different vibe
and
about
khakis,
you.
Baby.
Right. Yeah. But now you're like this tatted badass that's like doing all this amazing sales stuff. So how was that transition from like, it kind of looked like you went from like, you were kind of the cool kid, right? By certain stereotypes as far as like some of the drug stuff, some of the drinking and everything like that, then transitioning into more of the corporate American sales role, but now kind of coming back to, looks like you found yourself a little bit as far as like who you are now. Your confidence is just a lot higher. In that transition, what were some of the things that really got lost or got fucked up in finding, this is who I am now, but it's not who I want to be, like leading you to where you are today?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I really appreciate that you went and did some research. So I'm going to give you a little hack too. When you go to their profile, there's a little drop down. If you click their timeline, you can go back to different years. So you can like have it literally pick back to the time. So like if it's 2024, you go like, hey, take me back to 2019. What was he doing in 2019? Yeah. So little hack for you, Jake, just so speed up your research a little bit, right? But to answer your question, I grew up single mom, dad was in and out, a lot of shit went on there. I got into being a rebel and footlong mohawk, BMX, skateboarding, all the things that were anti-establishment. I literally have an anarchy tattoo from when I was 16. I've been getting tattoos since I was like, I was always that rebel at that point.
Yeah.
And then it got to where, I kind of realized, hey, there's only one of two paths this life will take. Either I'm going to end up in prison or I'm going to end up dead. And those aren't really things that I want. And also I'm like an extremist. I'm an all-in kind of person. So when it comes to like, hey, how do you get bigger and better as a drug dealer? You get bigger and better and sell more and you move more weight. Like that's not a game that's worth playing in the end. Like it's just not going to last. And so for me, it was that transition of, at the same time, I had met my wife, at time girlfriend, and was kind of like, all right, I'm going to settle down a little bit. I'm going to get my act together. I can't live like this forever. You know, when I got an opportunity to get a real legitimate job selling insurance, it was like, well, you know, if you can make 40, 50 grand a year and you know that you can show up and you can still smoke weed and do whatever you want because your boss doesn't give a shit, like, that's exactly what you need, dude. Just go do that. But it reached that point where it was kind of like, all right, I don't want to be patient. I don't know how much time is left. I don't know, like, I see far too many other people who are way dumber than me, not nearly as handsome, and definitely don't know what the fuck they're doing. And they're making way more money than me. So how the hell am I stuck here being a good person, working my ass off, and still only making 40 grand a year? It wasn't logical to me. And, you know, if I know you guys are familiar with neuro-linguistic programming, the NLP side of things, but like that complexity of thinking, that growth of change of mind, it set me on the path. There was no other direction for me to go but up because of who I am as a person and just the way that my mind works. I'm always trying to understand, like, all right, here's what you did. Like, why did you do it that way? And how did it break down? What's the reverse engineer of like where you got to and where you started so that I can figure out what works for me and what doesn't. One of my favorite books is called Steal Like an Artist. And it's all about how you can go and understand that there's nothing new in this world. There's no new proprietary special, like, it's all been repackaged and reformulated. The secret is to go out, learn from this guy, learn from this lady, learn from this individual, watch this thing and realize you can take a little bit from each person and you can make a decision. You can choose to be exactly like Marie and chase Marie and do everything that Marie does. But guess what? You'll never be anything but the next thing after Marie, because she's always going to be one step ahead of you. Now, if I was like, all right, well, I'm going to learn from Marie and I'm going to learn from Jake, I'm going to learn from Drewbie, and I'm going to realize, you know what? Jake does this thing that I really don't like. Some of it's cool, but like, nah, I don't want that part. And like Marie does a great job with that. So let me take what Marie does and then do this part, what Jake does. And then let me mix in the meme stuff from Drewbie and fucking, hey, I'm going to be a badass. And within a couple of years, you'll have surpassed us because you're socially drafting. What happens is just like in racing bikes, right? You get behind people in the Tour de France. There's a big peloton. And what's happening is the people in the middle are working at 40% effort compared to the people around the edge. And so these people in the middle are going as fast or faster and still reserving energy versus all the people who are out in front. So my thing is just like, learn from the people that are doing what I want to do, what works, what doesn't work. And then when they start fading out, boom, we're slingshotting right past them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. What was the name of that book again, Drewbie, just for anybody that didn't catch it?
Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon, and it's Kleon.
Awesome.
I love that. That makes me think of, like, you know, in music, like, just learn 4 chords and you can play any like pop hit, right? Like it's not rocket science. It's not being reinvented. It's just your spin on those 4 chords, right? Little beat change or whatever, but it's the same freaking 4 chords in every pop song. So that's what it made me think of when you said Steal Like an Artist. So yeah, Drewbie. So now tell me, let's fast forward a little bit to the transition that you just took in December, because now you just left that company you've been with for what, 5 years now, where you were able to really like focus on yourself, but also grow the heck out of the sales, you know, side of that company. And now you just made a big decision in December to leave that company and go all in on your own company, your own brand. So tell us, like, what was going through your mind? What was the final decision that made you say, okay, I have to step down even from this role? Because I'm pretty sure you were making pretty good money there. So it's not like you were stuck making 30K or 40K like Allstate. So what was the shift there that triggered you to move on?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I worked in that role in that company for 5 years. When I started, it was the bottom of the barrel position as a tech support dude. I was answering emails and filtering through like essentially what you would hire a VA for these days. That was what I got paid when I started. I came in with the idea that I'm going to learn anything and everything that I can. And I did that over 5 years. I did tech support, I did sales, I did marketing up to, I was at one point the VP of the company for several years. In the last year, I had transitioned to being the chief marketing officer. I wore every hat in the company other than owner and CEO. And so within that, I learned a lot. I grew a lot. I had the blessing and opportunity to be what we call an intrapreneur, which means that I worked within an organization as my own business. Like Jay-Z said it best, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. So for me, I was the business. I was an independent contractor who showed up, learned whatever role I was asked to learn, went way above and beyond, helped other people. Within that, myself personally did a little over $13 million in sales at an average ticket of $5,000 a sale. So,
Right.
you know, with real estate, I know 13 million may not sound that much, but like imagine if you did it at $5,000 a piece. So
Yeah.
just tack a couple extra zeros on there for what you guys do. Like it kind of masks itself out is what I always say, right? Like 5X it or whatever. And doing that, I learned a lot. I grew a lot, had many opportunities to travel, speak on stage, be in rooms with some of the brightest and like most successful people on the planet. And what I realized along the way is that life by design. I had done it. I had built it. I was making multiple six figures and realized that I want to travel. I want to go out and see the country. We bought a camper last year. We took it across the country 2 different times. We had so much fun as a family. And the decision really came down to, what do I want?
Yeah.
I went from making 30 grand a year to I was going to make probably $500,000 plus this year if I'd have stayed in that C-suite position, and plenty of upside for other things.
Yeah.
And also, I can't guarantee that I'm going to have another 20 years with my son. He's 8 years old. He's finally at that age where like we can go and do things, and like he's self-sufficient and he can run and gun, and we don't have a diaper bag no more. Like we're at that age where we can truly embrace it. And so Jake's laughing because he's like, cannot wait.
We have a double stroller and everything, man.
Bro,
the back of the car is loaded at any moment.
You'll never get rid of the stroller, though. The strollers always come in handy. We go to like markets and stuff all the time. But that, again, we want to go to the markets. We want to travel. So I had to make that decision of like, what do I want? And what am I willing to truly do to make it a reality? I'm blessed. I've built multiple brands over the years. I've been a part of huge growth within an organization. I mean, we were doing 8 figures a year as an organization where I was a VP for a number of those years. CMO, we did just, I know the game inside and out. Now it was a decision of what do I want to do with those skills, and what am I willing to go out and tell the market I'm worth, and go prove it. And to me, what's cool about it is being a part of a mentorship program the way I was, to come from that and have so many people who have watched the journey from start to finish. Like I remember when Drewbie came in and wasn't in, like I remember when Drewbie built his first funnel, was asking people, hey, how do you put a pixel on here? You know, like, and anyone in marketing is like, you didn't know how to put a pixel on there 5 years ago? What? You're making that much money? It's because I just said, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to do. And so the other side of that, truthfully, y'all, I can't leave someone else's business to my son.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
So that was a big part of saying, hey, I'm going to go all in. We're going to build something we can build as a family. You're going to learn this from 8 years old. You're going to be that one telling the story. Like, my dad put my ass in a camper, dragged me across the country at 8 years old, had me fucking bagging up stickers out here, talking about, we're doing it for the gram. We're bagging up hope and not dope. Like, what the fuck are you even talking about, Dad? Like, but you know what? We're going to have those stories. We're going to have that adventure. And what I know about people right now, they love reality TV because they want to live vicariously through the stories that other people are telling. I'm going to go tell a hell of a story and get to live it and enjoy it and be a part of that.
Yeah,
very much so. The consumption right now is ridiculous on social media.
Yeah, and I know you're going to do a hell of a job, you know, videoing and tracking this journey. But Jake, so we touched base right before we went live, but nobody actually knows. So you got to share the plan now, Drewbie. Like, what is, just share the vision for this upcoming year for your business.
So we are in the market right now. We are literally packing up everything we own, putting it in totes. We are going to put our house on the market at the end of the month. It is February 13th. So within the next 30 days, our house will be listed. We're going to be moving into our 36-foot 2-bedroom condo on wheels. And we're going to be hitting the road and traveling as a family for like the next year. We may hate it. We may get out there and be like, this is fucking awful. But a lot of the people that we talk to do exactly what Jake just did. And was like, hell yeah, that sounds amazing. I want to do that someday, and someday may never come. So we're going to go and do it, because in the year that we just spent traveling and going out, we met so many individuals and couples who were like, this is the greatest thing ever. We love it. You know what our one regret is? That we didn't do it sooner, because we waited until we were retired. We waited until this XYZ. And guess what? Now we're sick. We can't do it. There's not enough money. Like that. No, hell no. We're going to go. We're going to live it. We're going to figure it out. And we're going to have a hell of a good time doing it, because that's what life is all about, being happy.
Yeah. And I love that so much.
Congratulations to you guys for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. He's like, as soon as my son's finished with school, we're homeschooling next year and we're traveling around the country in an RV. I was like, fuck yeah, do it. And I'm sure it is more of a condo on wheels than an RV. I'm sure it's pretty pimped out in there. If you got a new one, we have one. It's a few years old, but all right. So we're getting up to about the 30-minute mark here. So Jake, what's your final question?
Ooh, so I've been thinking about how do I want to end the first episode of season 2. I did, all this research on you, Drewbie, and I think the only appropriate way to do it is to ask you, with your sales knowledge and everything, what is the biggest deal that you've lost and how did it happen? As far as the sales, situation, break that down for us.
Biggest deal that I've ever lost and how did it happen?
Yeah, and the theme of the show, the fuck up, let's hear it.
Yeah, you know what? Biggest deals I've ever lost was about $150,000 opportunity, pretty massive, and I lost it because I did not call the damn lead exactly when I said I was going to call it. I just dropped the ball, was doing other things, and I was like 20 minutes late, and I called, and they're like, yeah, sorry, bro, I'm out. Lesson learned.
Yep, punctuality, it's important.
Hey, man, and Maria is funny because when we showed up to the show, I was like 7 minutes early, and she's like, I was waiting for her to show up. And she's like, damn, I love punctuality. Like, that's awesome. And I said, yeah, if you're not 5 minutes late, don't even bother showing up. Mm-hmm. And that's one of those lessons that I had to learn the hard way. Like, there's a reason you show up early for things and be prepared.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's huge in the military, right? You're always like 10, 15 minutes early. And that definitely translates into like, business and everything. Like I hate whenever I have a team meeting or something, if I'm not the first one there, terrible. I'll beat myself up about it all day long. I'm like, no way. Tomorrow I'm getting on like 25 minutes early. Not happening.
Yeah. That's the way to do it.
All right. So I was frozen there for a minute on my side, but I'm back. All right. So Drewbie, tell everybody, how can they follow you, like join your mentorship program, or just follow your journey over the next year?
Yeah. So honestly, the best thing that you could do right now, I like to just give value and let people decide what they want to do from there. So I wrote this book called The Damn Leads: From Clicks to Contracts, Revolutionizing Sales and Follow-Up in the Digital Era. Because here's the thing. You had mentioned something earlier. There's a lot of different ways. This is a quote that I've had a mentor just absolutely hammer into me. Methods are many, principles are few. Methods may vary, but principles never do. So there's a lot of different ways to make money, to be successful, but there's some foundational stuff that's really, really important. I really try to hit the foundational stuff in this book. So if you go to callthedamnleads.com/free book offer, you can download the PDF. It's not one of those like you got to pay for shipping bullshit nonsense. I'll like, give me your name and email address. I'll send you the PDF. If you want to buy the book, I'm going to give you a $10 coupon. You can go to the store and buy it. That's cool too. But like, I will send you a free PDF because here's what I know. If you go out and you decide you want to be successful, you make that decision for yourself and you decide to do the work necessary, you will get the result. It's just a matter of fine-tuning and measuring those along the way. So whether you're making sales calls or you're working on acquisitions for new real estate deals, whatever it is, build a process, stick to the process, trust the process. That's what's going to get you the results. So callthedamnleads.com/free book offer. Go download it, check it out, implement some of these processes, hit me up and let me know what results you got. Then I'll talk to you about what mentorship could look like, because I'd rather you get a result first and then come back and know this is the dude that knows what he's talking about.
Awesome. And how can they find you on Insta? What's your handle?
at Call the Damn Leads. Brand congruence. Come on, Marie. Everything at Call the Damn
Call the
Leads.
Damn
Everywhere.
Leads.
You can hear it right now. So season 2, episode 1, you will, in 5 years, will not walk through an airport in the United States and not see a Call the Damn Leads tag somewhere within that son of a gun. You can hear it right here, right now. I'm calling my shot like Babe Ruth. We'll see you there in 5 years.
Outstanding. Fucking awesome. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you so much, Drewbie. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I know that I'm hoping a lot of people are going to go get that free book. I know I am. We'll probably get the whole dang team on there and make it like our next book that we got to read. So
yeah, I got room for it back here. I got like a spot. I'll get it up there.
I really, really appreciate it. I wish you a lot of success over the next year and many to come. I know I will be definitely watching your journey and finding some cool places that maybe I can bring my fifth wheel and meet up with you across the country. So enjoy it. And thank you so much for being our guest.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Thanks.